Hello there, it's me. It's 16th January 2025. It's 3:15 p.m. and today we are going to talk about time management and stuff. So not particularly like just going into the depth because I do want to go into the depth and prepare something well. But if you just talk about the planning as whole, even it is very much required, and it's just not the planning because you can make the plan. Okay, you can make the plan, anyone can. But it's just about the like how you are going to follow. You have to follow your system. One could make a timetable. One could make a weekly plan that I would like to do this and that, but the ultimate thing comes down to execution. So if you are like better at or good at execution stage, you will be ultimately good at every other thing. So if we just talk about the planning stuff, like you have to get straightforward to it. Just get better at execution. Now if we talk about even execution is more like uh, a test to your theory. And so like if we take a book, you read a book, then when it's if you just take an example, like let's take an example about swimming, I guess. You can read a lot about swimming. You can read about even diving and stuff. You can read about how you're going to save yourself, about different types of swimming patterns, and how can you swim and all that, backward swimming, everything. But when it comes down to ultimate test, it's just the act of you be able to doing swim. 99.99% things of the book you can't do because you just can't. The concept of trial and error will prevail. Any other thing, any other thing, every time, anytime, everywhere. And just things like just if you have to apply it in your own life, for example, myself, if you are preparing for a certain exam, first thing that should be in your mind that should be the certain goals that have to do this in this period, like just the goals, like you have to do this. First thing. Second thing, break it down, do it in bits and pieces. And of course with the execution also, like when you are able to execute, when you are able to execute again and again, that builds up consistency, and consistency is also very important. So basically execution, daily execution is the building block of prolonged consistency, and prolonged consistency is actually what is going to lead you to your success in. You need a system, of course you do need a system. Like let's just take an example. If you are preparing for a certain exam, first of all you should know the syllabus. Then you would divide the syllabus, like I will have to do this in this much time. Then it would be better that you, when you are like reading about certain thing, when you're studying about certain thing, you should give a proper time to it. Like for example, we have say 10 chapters, 20 chapters of biology, um, 20 to 25 chapters, or even 20 chapters as a whole we talk about. If because we are in the end, right? We have only January, because like I have the boards next month, and after I would just have 2 months per se, and I wouldn't be able to do much but in that period. But the thing is that when you have a prolonged time, for example, say 1 year, that is like would should be enough for every should you want for one to change completely, one should do it the task with consistency. One should not rely that he or she would do that task tomorrow, and then tomorrow she or he will say, I will just do more again tomorrow, again tomorrow, again tomorrow, and that the task will just, you know, get back, get back, get back, and we'll just get back. So, first of all, the first thing is make a planish. It's it's not um, a need that it should be like more rugged, more detailed, that you have to do this on this day. No, it should be vague, but the vagueness of it should have boundaries too. If I that I just have decided that I would do this chapter in this week. Now, a week is actually pretty much a long time if we talk about that, especially when we consider the subjects in mind. For example, if we take biology, so of course you will be not studying biology 24 into 7, of course. So you just decide that, first of all I just want to review the job notes. So I will just review the notes, and then I will go through the NCRT. So you just review the notes, went to the NCRT. Now you have a basic rugged kind of skeleton, something a bit or bits of pieces of skeleton arranged with together. Of course you have some missing bones, but the next day when you go again to the chapter, now you have to go in detail, like trying to revise every other thing, revising every other thing again and again and again. So you're just building upon that core memory, right? Now that basically means builds solid bones on which you have some muscles coming up, and after the muscles which have been used, so you may basically now have a like a proper body from inside. Then I think you should probably, then after doing that, proper revision is of course necessary. So to polish the things, so to make the joinings, to make the connections between the muscles and bones, uh, to make your memory sharp about that subject, and then finally testing yourself. So it's just like 4 days, and you are done with a lot of things. Now, now fifth and sixth day, I will just perhaps I would say do revise, um, and do more practice. Now, what happens is that you actually have a cumulative study of a chapter of a certain subject. But now what happens is that for a prolonged period of time, you will start to forget the chapter. For the first week, you will forget an example. For the second week, you will start forgetting like bits and pieces. The third week, you would do have the concept in mind, but you would not remember the specifics. And that's where, my friend, that's where we it comes the revision segment. Revision is a must. It is as necessary as it can be. It is as necessary as oxygen for the survival of an aspirant in such an examinations. Uh, there's this weapon you can take actually the usefulness of in this particular revision segment. Now, the best thing is that you just take that graph and bring it back again. Take the graph, bring it back again. It's the graph that just tells that the graph of the learning curve, or should I say, the curve of losing the knowledge. So you have to just bring the graph again and again and again. Now, when you study chapter again and again and again and again, just you become quick with the notes. Like what was there on this page, what was on this page. Just have that knowledge. But like if you just revise it again and again, then a point will come that you will be able to revise the whole chapter in like 30 minutes or so. Now, if you be able to concise that 7 hours detailed chapter into just 30 minutes, you can actually, you do have actually a pretty good baseline there. Now, if you understand the thing that 30 minutes, if you just are able to concentrate the chapter between 30 minutes, and then you have like, if you are able to do 3 chapters in 3 weeks, you are just having a, even like we talk about 4 weeks, that is 1 month. So you have just like 4 chapters pretty much ready. That takes only 2 hours to revise. Now, if you just think about it, that actually it just take 2 hours to revise. Then you just become what? If you do this same thing with the other subjects, physics and chemistry, especially if we talk about physics, physics is just not hard. It's more formula based. It's more about from where the formula came. It's about the concept. It's not about the formula specifically. I've realized that I am studying physics. I'm not in love, but I do think that it is understandable. It's not that bad. I've realized that when you are studying a subject which needs concept clarity, which have thousands and hundreds and tons of formulas, you don't need to revise the formulas. You just need to go through through the concept that, okay, let's just talk about the derivation, then that how the main formula came. Then okay, I understand. Then there's this minimum deviation. You understand that like by this minimum deviation, so if there's minimum deviation here, then we just talk about the like minimum angle. Then there's the minimum, then the angle of emergence is going to be equal with that one. So you just have to click on the mind, and then you can just know the formula. And I think the teachers just say pretty much, it's common that the teachers just say that you should do questions, and you have to do questions. Now I do understand that there are certain types of questions which one could not do, but that's the main thing. You have to do the questions. When you do questions, even like if you're able to do 2 questions on that same formula concept, you will be crystal clear with that thing. Like you will know how to apply that because you have done that. You have done the practice. You know the practical of it, and that's what counts. It's not the theory counts, it's the practice which counts, that how many times do you have done that thing. And perhaps if you have like want to really prepare, revise, revise, and revise again. Okay, then you have to revise the thing which you have revised earlier with the other things, the other subject or topics which were revised the previous or even studied, being studied, been in the weeks which have passed by. You have to maintain that curve with every subject, every topic, necessarily. And then with this planning, you can do a lot of things. But now, the main important thing comes, which is execution, or when you are executing, things go wrong, and things do go wrong. You have to be prepared for the worst case scenario possible. I think the worst case scenario would be when you are going to encounter chapters like rotational motion, uh, chapters which are just taking your energy but you are not getting the results. Chapters like organic chemistry, chapters in which your mind is like being used to its fullest potential, but you are just able to scratch a little thin piece of that chapter. In those cases, be prepared for the worst. You may be distracted at that moment, and you may want to just go away from that thing, and you would go away. Let's just say that you would go away. When if you say again and again that I will not do that such a thing, you said that you would be able to make it out in the first attempt, and uh, that who are the people who are not able to do that thing. You start to know that कोई पागल ही होगा, that इसका लगता होगा कि जो अपने 2 साल वेस्ट करेगा. I'm not. So things would get wrong. You have to plan for that too, additionally. You have to know that when you have fallen into shit, you have to get yourself again, pretty much back again. So it's better if you have a system in place already. The best thing I would suggest is that if you're not able to do a thing, okay, just do it until you are done that thing. After that, take a break, take a long break, start new chapter, just enjoy a little, right? And then slowly by slowly, you would get again ninja. But don't stop, because if you stop at the previous chapter, you are not going to progress any further, which is basically required by you to that stuff in the future. So you should do the progress should not be lost at any point of time. And that's pretty much what I would like to say about the planning stuff, especially regarding the exams. And I was just feeling a little calm today. That's why I wanted to discuss this. We will be basically discussing about other topics which do fundamentally change of how I think, how people think, and how I feel towards other people, or other people feel towards me. So yeah, I would just like to concise it again. Study, revision, revision again, revision again, revision again, but with the chapters which have been already studied and revised in earlier weeks. Then again revision, and subsequently you build. Basically, you should understand that it's a building kind of thing, and you should understand it as a tree. The tree would grow. The tree would grow, but the branches have to be kept with you. So basically, like you have a one branch, so you just go here. Now, if you cut that, because if you want to grow, if you just say, if you just went to that class, and then you have a base here, right? But when you will go here, you want to do that thing. But now, when you are studying that thing, and if you don't revise the main thing here, then the progress will not happen. So you have to keep your branches with you, grow. Keep your branches with you, grow. Keep your branches with you, grow. Keep your branches with you. You have to keep everything concise, clear, and with yourself. You cannot forget, because the cost of forgiveness is just tremendous. It doesn't matter how much you study a topic again and again, even tissues. If you have studied like a 30 or 40 times again, but no, it will not help you. You just need is that you should study in 3 times in detail. Probably a brush up would be required time to time, but the revision key is revision, not to forget the concept main things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to sleep now because I'm being sleepy. That's Yashwant Singh, and I'm out.